so excited to be back here. I was actually here 4 years ago, I spoke. So it's amazing to see this conference grow and this community grow every year. So thank you all for being here. All right, do you know who this guy is? It's Steve Jobs. He's introducing the first iPhone, and he focused on not the problems with all existing phones, but instead the future possibilities of mobile phones and what they could become. Dr. Martin Luther King, his infamous speech, he focused on the possibilities for a better future, not on all of the problems that he saw existing at the time. And Reagan, his campaign, It's Morning Again in America, focused on the future, not the almost 14% mortgage rates, which we think they're bad now, but it's pretty bad. And Bill Clinton, building America's bridge to the 21st century. I think you're starting to get the idea, but all of these campaigns are focused on the future and possibilities and what could happen, what could exist. And they clearly know the problems. They knew what was wrong and what needed to be fixed, but they focused their campaigns around thinking ahead and thinking to the future. And that's what I want to talk about today and how we can apply that in product. So I think we're all really familiar with customer problems, and we know our customer problems really well. And it's critical to understand your customer problems in order to solve them. And a customer problem is based on need. It's based on where the customer currently is and what they need solved. But what I want to talk about in regards to customer aspirations is that this is all about the future state, what the customer hopes they could become. It's based on feeling and an outcome and a future version of themselves. And there's a ton of research, especially in the marketing world, about customer aspirations, but this study showed that a strong aspiration from a customer builds brand attachment, behavioral intention, and commitment. And the same study, it showed that status, success, achievement, a variety of these aspirations, they determine a consumer's attachment toward your brand through representing their ideal future self. So let's look at a few examples of how brands who really understand a customer aspiration and use it to build their customers' loyalty and integrate it throughout the entire product experience. Let's look at how they do it. So first up, Zillow. Their brand aspiration is helping people move and grow throughout life's journey. And throughout the product experience, they make claims like, make your next move with confidence, get your next home, get pre-qualified. Everything is focused on this future achievement that you could have. That you could have that dream home. Zillow surfing isn't just for fun, but you could actually use these tools and you could get that next home. And Mint, their brand aspiration, power prosperity around the world. And they make claims like start reaching your financial goals, start making confident money moves today, take control of your wallet. And all throughout the experience, it's making you feel that you could have a better financial future. You could be someone who's smart with money. It's not out of reach. And finally, Peloton. Motivating millions to stay active, centered, and connected. They make claims like, step up your cardio game. You'll find thousands of classes to keep you motivated. And discover your strongest self. Watch as your body changes in response to the work that you put in. All of these focused on what you can become if you just use the product. Again, outcome, not just product, really focused on what they could become or who they could become if they're using your product. And aspiration, I believe, really influences customers at every single touch point. And I think it's something that in marketing they really focus on. They talk about aspirations, they think about aspirations and the messaging, but I think it's equally important, not just in marketing and not just in their first reaction to your product, but throughout the entire experience to keep them engaged. So let's go back to the Peloton example and talk through each of those different touch points. Discovery. So this is maybe the first time that a customer would see your brand or product. This is where you want to inspire them. Help them believe that this future aspiration they have, this future version of themselves, it's a possibility. And Peloton's Motivation That Moves You campaign was completely focused on that. It was showing you that because of Peloton's platform, this community, and their amazing instructors, you could finally find the motivation to work out. The thing that you've always wanted to be able to do, you could do it if you used Peloton. And then during consideration, don't just list out the specs on your product, but use this opportunity to show customers and tell them specifically how your product will help them achieve their outcome. And then during the purchase experience, again, you want them to purchase, you want them to commit, but there's still a chance they could drop out. So help them feel confident that if they do make this purchase, they can achieve their goals. It's just one click away. And then engagement, I think the most important part. You can really improve user engagement by focusing on their successes and what they can achieve by encouraging behavior that leads to the desired outcome. In this example, they're offering new challenges that are focused directly on the user and the types of classes that they've completed before, giving them challenges that they think the customer can achieve, and then building in streaks, that extra motivation, the feeling that I have been successful, so I can be successful again. So let's talk about how this worked at Chatbooks. And I was most recently the Chief Product Officer at Chatbooks, and my team built an incredible subscription product that really allowed customers to feel like by subscribing, they were getting to a better version of themselves. And with a product like photo books, for those that aren't familiar with Chatbooks, the primary product is printed photo books. And there's just naturally a lack of urgency to need to print photos. It's not something that you have to do right now. It's something that you could do and you should do and you would like to do, but it's not urgent. And so building a subscription product was really the key to unlocking how to keep customers engaged and keep them using the product and having a reason to come back again and again. So this is the customer problem that we heard most often. When describing why they would use Chatbooks, customers would say, I have too many photos on my phone. Well, I mean, that's a good customer problem, but there are a number of ways you could solve that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with photo books. So I think the way to get from a customer problem to an aspiration is to just keep asking why. Imagine like a 5-year-old kid that just never stops saying why to everything you say. Do that with your customers. Just keep digging. So they tell you, I have too many photos on my phone. Okay, well, why is that a problem? Because I feel disorganized. Okay, and why is that a problem? I want my kids to see the photos, but I don't want to hand over my phone. Okay, well, that makes sense. I don't either. So why do you want your kids to see the photos? Because I want them to know they're loved. Okay. And why else? Because I want my family to feel more connected. So that's where you're getting to aspiration. I want my family to feel more connected. I want to feel like I'm a good parent. These two are customer aspirations. They're based on a feeling, and there's a clear outcome that the customer really hopes to achieve. So the next step is to validate. Can we actually help the customer achieve that aspiration with our product? Is it possible? So we did a large-scale study with an amazing research team and partnered with psychologists at 2 universities to understand what is the impact of printed photos on family relationships. Can we help them reach that aspiration to feel like a good parent or to have a more connected family? And we surveyed almost 16,000 people. So here's the results. Families connect more when they're looking at printed photos. 76% that agreed that they felt more connected as a family when they looked at these. Printed photos help families feel closer and more connected. Looking at family photos helps parents feel like good parents. And parents reported a lot of emotional benefits from looking at printed photos. They felt more confident in their parentability. That's a pretty big deal. They feel more compassion toward their children, and they feel more realized and recognized as a parent. And they also feel better showing children printed photos versus showing them digital photos. That's the handing your phone over problem. And we also found that a majority of people want to print their everyday moments, not just the special occasion photos, but the snaps that they take on their phone every single day. The ones that aren't special enough to frame on your wall, but are perfect for a photo book. So we had an aspiration. We were able to find that by continuing to dig and ask customers why. And now we had validation, that we can actually help them achieve their aspiration with our product. If they print photo books and they look at them with their family, they can feel like a better parent and they can feel more connected to their family. So meet Month Books. This was the new product to help address this aspiration. And it's a monthly photo book. I'm sure you could have guessed by the name. And you pick 30 photos, ships to your house once a month. But we really focused on explaining how this product would help them reach that aspiration. All of the imagery around a child and a mother looking at photo books together, the claims, not just focused on the size of the photo book or the print quality or the type of paper we're using, but the emotional benefits to using this product. So in discovery, it's great to focus on the problem and explain that again. You've got photos on your phone. But again, tie back to the aspiration. See the everyday magic, bring your family closer together with photos. These are the types of things that you want them to understand during discovery. And in consideration, same. You want them to come into the product, and if they saw that message in an ad, carry it through into the product experience. Remind them, you do have this problem, you have a lot of phone photos, and we do have this solution which will help you meet your aspiration to see the everyday magic and enjoy these moments with your family. And then during purchase, reaffirm that they can reach their goals and that they can reach them quickly. Here we showed that it's just 3 easy steps. It's not going to take very long. You click one button and you're subscribed and you're on your way to this better version of yourself. Just get them through and don't distract them from what they're really trying to do. And then during engagement, there's lots of things you should do to help keep them engaged and keep them coming back. But I think focusing on what's the success that they can have and reminding them that they have this aspiration and that they can continue to reach it. So capture your everyday magic each day, a prompt reminding them that they should take a photo and remember it, and then add it to their photo book. And we'll help them pick their photos. So instead of feeling like this is overwhelming and there's no way that they can continue to print these photo books every month, it's just too much work, we instead focus on the success. So here's a big pile of photos, and we're going to pick the best ones. We'll remove the screenshots. We'll take out the ones that you're not going to want, and you can just make a couple changes, and you're done. Continue to provide them encouragement. So tell them they're doing a good job. When they do print a photo book, congratulate them, and offer them some tools so that they can do it again. Offer them reminders so that they can come back and not have to think about it. Just make it easy. In each of these steps, we were trying to make them feel like this aspiration was in reach, because these tools that we're providing them are really easy to use. They can have a photo book every month that they can enjoy with their family or pass over to their kids, and we're not going to make it super difficult. We'll help them get there. This tool on the end, autofill, gives them an opportunity to not even have to pick their photos. They can just turn this on and they'll get a photo book in the mail every month with photos that we pick for them. And then help them share the wins. I think this part's really important. We found that parents felt even better when they got extra credit for picking these photos, for making a book every month. We made them a quick video that they could share on social media or text to grandma, and it helped them feel that validation that they were doing it. They were picking photos, they were showing their kids that they loved them. It's really important to feel like you're doing a good job and to have that social capital really help reinforce that. So here's what customers thought. When their kids spent most time looking at their chapbooks and they only took 5 minutes to do it, it's satisfying. And this review from a customer, I'm about a year behind, our world has been a little crazy, but I still pay for them because I want them. Hasn't printed a photo book in a year, but still wants to continue paying because they want them. I think this really underlines the importance of aspiration. It's kind of similar to a gym membership that people never use, right? Like, I keep paying because I'm gonna go to the gym, like in a future version of my life where it's not so crazy and I actually wanna work out. The same thing's happening here, right? Like, I haven't printed photo books in a year, but I don't care because I feel like a good parent just by subscribing. And I've seen these kids interact with the photo book, and I know it's important, so I want it. I think that shows you've really found an aspirational product when you start to see reviews like that. And then if you check what's tagged on chapbooks on Instagram, it's just tons of photos like these that customers take of kids looking at their books, and that really is the feedback that matters because that is showing that they have reached their aspiration. And then you also get really great customers, which is a nice benefit as well. Customers retain better. We had top decile customer retention. They print better. Most customers printed their books within a month. Most of them weren't like that review where she didn't print for a year, but some were, and it didn't matter. And then we also had really great customer satisfaction, higher than any of our other products. So all this to say, I think that it's really important to try to find not just your customer problems, but keep digging and try to find the aspiration. What does your customer want to do? Who do they want to become? And then how can your product help them get there? And validate it. Show them that you've done the research, that you validated that this works, and that your product really can help them achieve this better version of themselves. And then continue to remind customers at every touch point, especially within the product experience, Don't leave it to marketing to share these aspirations, but really remind them over and over within the product that you're there to help them reach the aspiration. They can do it, encourage them, and I think you'll find that you have really amazing customers and you've created a very special product experience. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. So we have some questions from the audience here. We talked a lot about aspirations on B2C products. Are there examples of creating these for B2B products?
I actually thought this question might come up because anytime I talk about consumer products in Utah, people are like, okay, but what about B2B? And I think it's actually more important in B2B in some ways. So if you talk to a sales organization, for example, they're doing this too. They're trying to understand what is a customer trying to achieve and how do we show them that our tool is the right tool to get them there? And that's a better way to sell a product to a customer. So if it's a business customer, you're gonna have a different person you're selling to and maybe a different person who's using the product, but I think you could try to understand what is the aspiration of that end user. Say you're building an analytics product, for example, and you talk to an end user, they might say, oh yeah, I need to build reports. That's what I need to do. But if you keep digging, they might say they want to reach a promotion, or maybe they want to be the most trusted analyst on the team, or the one that everyone goes to when they need something. Understanding that aspiration, I think, can help you build the product in a way that helps them get there. That's better than just like building reports, you know? So instead of just focusing on that problem, but understanding where do they really want to get to and how can we encourage them to get there, I think you can do it in B2B as well.
Yeah, there's an interesting challenge with B2B where you sometimes have this person buying the product and the person using the product are just not the same person. And B2C, you kind of have those two combined. And if you can serve them both, but regardless of them being two people versus one, you can kind of create the same pattern. So Chatbooks has a very feel-good, positive solution. When discovering the problem, were you looking for something aspirational, or did you just happen to fall into something so positive through your research?
Really, honestly, just happened to fall into it. Wasn't going into it wondering, what's the aspiration and how can I solve it? It was more the digging, and we had an excellent research team that was able to really help dig into these questions, but it was the why, the digging that led us to, that's interesting. They want to be better parents. Well, we've anecdotally seen at Chatbooks that we feel like better parents, or we've heard that from people that they feel connected when they watch their kids look at these books. How do we prove that? And then how do we make a product that helps everyone achieve that same thing? But yeah, it was accidental.
Oh, awesome. So how did you decide on the target demographic of your research study? Was the demographic aligned with your target users, or were the results how you selected target users?
The targeting of the study was really similar to our target user demographic. You probably won't be surprised that most Chatbooks customers are parents, and most of them are moms. And most of them are between the ages of 30 and 40, so millennial mom, as we affectionately called them. But the study that we did, and we actually partnered with HP to make the audience even wider and get more responses, was pretty similar to our target demographic, mostly women and mostly in their 30s and 40s.
Wonderful. When it comes to the questions, I loved how you framed asking the 5 whys, or just act like you're a 5-year-old and just keep asking why. I loved how that kind of related back to your audience in some degree too, because a lot of these.
5-year-old.
I did 10 years ago. Okay, So, did you find that your customer aspirations are steady over time, or did they shift as you continue doing research?
I think that they can shift. I mean, this was a pretty a steady one because our products are about printing photos, and so the aspirations didn't really change all that often. But I think it can change, and that's why it's important to, as you discover a customer problem, continue to dig into it and see if the aspiration is the same. Because I think over time it could change. As our customer ages, for example, the children also age. And so they might not be looking at photo books in the same way, and it might not connect them in the same way. So their aspiration might be that they want to create a keepsake that they can pass down to their kids or something. I mean, I'm just guessing. But I think it could change as their life changes and their environment changes, and continuing to dig and find what is the aspiration that's most important to them at the time, I think is the important part.
That's really interesting. Taking that to my own children quickly, it just reminded me of my 18-year-old. He hates getting his photo taken, but I want to take it for to remember the time. So, one other question here. So, love the intention. 12 books a year. Is there a new problem that emerges of how to store these photo books? Does this affect retention in year 1, 2, 3? Curious about the lifetime value. I'll pause there for a second.
Yeah.
There's a couple other pieces to it.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think so. I think it will change. And this product was only launched a couple of 3 years ago. So I think it's starting to get to the point where people might feel overwhelmed with the amount of books they've had. We've heard that a lot. And at the point where they're handing them over to their children, it's maybe not like a shelf keepsake that they have to worry about where it's stored. But if their children are getting older and they're not handing them over anymore, then I think that it becomes overwhelming to have that many books. And so the next step was to think through, how do you retain customers by shifting them into a different product, by understanding what their needs are? And it goes back to that potential shift in aspirations, and understand what is a product we can give them next that still meets an aspiration, but doesn't come with a problem of 12 books a year feels like a lot, and I'm now overwhelmed and drowning in books, and they're all over the place. It might be that they just wanted a yearbook. They want, a hardcover, nice, beautiful book that they can put on their shelf, and it's just one per year. But I think that's why you continue to ask what it is that they're trying to achieve, and then think through how your product can help them achieve that and validate it and then deliver that.
Yeah, interesting to see, okay, I'm seeing the games, the books you get each month, it's the games that you're playing, but maybe I just want to see the highlights, the highlight reel of over 5 years, or what I might be. The other part of that question was, have you considered ordering these for family, grandparents, collaboration with multiple people, multiple collaborators?
Yes, so many times. I don't know, I think I saw James out there somewhere, how many times we tried to make collaborators work. It turns out that photo books aren't a thing that people really want to work on with other people. Doesn't matter how many iterations we made, but they do like to share them with people. And in one of the screenshots I showed, we found that they don't really like to share the book, they like to share the photos. And so that's why we made these mini movies, they were called, where you print a book and then automatically it's turned into a movie that's like scrolling through the photos really quickly, kind of looks like an Instagram reel. And those were really popular for people to have a way to share the photos and the memories with grandma, or post it on Instagram or share it with extended family, more so than actually working together on a photo book.
Interesting. Okay, last question here. What's the inverse of these aspirations? If I subscribe to feel like a good parent, do I feel like a bad parent if I unsubscribe?
Yes.
Do you research if this effect exists and impacts your intention?
That is such a great point. I think that they felt you kind of saw in that one example, she wasn't even printing the photo books anymore and still felt like she was doing it, like she was doing a good job because she was subscribed. So I think that it's possible that not being subscribed anymore could have an inverse effect, and that might be a good thing for retention to keep them, motivated to use it. I think that's kind of part of the Peloton approach too, right? Is to make you kind of feel like great when you're doing it, but then remind you all the times that you're not, and just a little nudge to kind of make you feel like a little bad that you're not getting on your bike that you paid all this money for. I think there's probably some power in retaining customers by doing that.
Just a little bad.
Just a little bad, not a lot bad.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Lauren. Let's give Lauren another round of applause. Okay, so.